Okay, so exam is coming close by, and remember last time we did last Thursday when we met, we did the first part of the first section of the first mock what we were doing, and that was all about a biomass company. Kind of remember we are a consulting company for alternative energy. So what I want to suggest few things for you from now onwards till the exam day. Just like we take time to read the Bible, take little time every day to read the pre-scene for a few minutes. Yeah?
Yes.
Keep reading the pre-scene, because the more you read, I see a lot of new things have been revealed through the pre-scene, even though it's not something a living document, but even though it always gives us something to think about the moment we go to the pre-scene every time. So some other things that I have captured in this pre-scene is, you can see a lot of news articles in the pre-scene about the protests that is there all over. And the other thing we discussed the other day was all about the finance, the alternative energy. Even though the company is called alternative energy, they had never done any projects on alternative energies except the wind power. And that is also they have identified they are predominantly dependent on the wind power consultancy, and that's it. But we saw somewhere down here in this particular mock. Remember, you have to be very careful, because when you do more mocks, you might think all these mocks are combined. No, you have to remember, you have to forget after doing the section, the 3 sections of the first mock, it has nothing to do with the second mock, right? The second mock will be a totally different story, because sometimes what happens is you might read this biomass project and you might get over involved with the biomass project. Second mock may be something about some other thing, and you might try to mix up this one and the other one. So remember that you be very careful. Okay? Yeah. So having said that one, now in this particular mock, what we were looking at, the section 1 was all about, the company being offered a biomass project, and in the biomass project, it was power generation, which is not our stronghold. We are totally good on consultancy, but it's a good thing in a way, because we can expand our business from being a power generator, from being a consultant to a power generator. But it will also have its negative impacts, like being a consultant, you are very open-minded, but the moment you are a power generator, you probably will get attracted more towards the power of that particular source, and you might want to oversell that one to your clients. So you have to be very careful of that one. Anyway, having said all that, now we come to the second part of this section, which I want to share with you. Already I think it's with you, but I want to discuss this second part with you today. Yeah? Okay, so let's look at the section 2. 6 months have passed, and the board has announced its intention to create a biomass power station in the state land provided closer to the main forestry in Breeze land to be fueled by the trees from the forest itself. So you can see it has taken 6 long months. So it's not a decision that has been taken very lightly. It has taken too long a time, too much of time. They would have, board would have given a lot of thought to it, because they would have discussed your views, and after some time they have decided, yes, it's all right, let's go ahead with the project. So they would have discussed many things, the good things, the bad things, and the financing, everything, and they have discussed. Sorry. So this news has received mixed reaction. It's the same story all over. You know, any news will receive mixed reactions. For some people, it will be good news. Some people, it will be bad news. It's always in our life, right? So people will look at from different perceptions, different mentalities when it comes for looking at. So the news has caused mixed reactions. Younger, sorry, younger residents of the small towns closest to the forest were delighted because their local economy will be boosted. So the young generation is very happy about this project because they know when you have a power generating plant there, it will create a kind of an environment where the people will come, reside, and that will boost their economy. But all the residents are looking from a different angle. You know, we look at from our last few years, few days in our earth, we want to live in a kind of environment hassle-free, pollution-free, and the older generation is looking from that angle, and they feel that the power station will pollute the environment and the destruction of forest will blight an outstanding beauty. So because they are the people who have earned their money, now they have gone to retirement, and they believe that this kind of thing is not very good for them. A research group has been established online with support from Brisbane's largest environmental lobbying group to block the proposal. Now, last time when you wrote, you were very happy that the government has recognized your, company, and now here we see a big group, the main group that is the largest environmental protesters group, if I would say, have agreed, have decided to block the proposal. Very strong word. And here we are receiving an email from Fiona, your finance director, to you. Remember, you are a person who is advising them at very top level, at strategic level. Your advice is to the board of directors on many matters. So here it's a big issue, and she probably wants your advice. So the subject is, remember, the subject is stakeholder issues. Now, Fiona is going beyond that one. She is not only thinking about the environmentally, she is thinking from the stakeholders' point of view. So that's so these are the few things which I want you to pick up from this question, because these little things will help you to develop your mindset between today and the exam day, so that you will be able to come out with a super answer. I always say, as I always say, I say, don't think this as an exam. Think this as a common sense. Basically, you go to office in the morning, you're working in this company called AEN, and early morning you receive a mail from Fiona. So forget about your textbook, forget about all your, being an exam mentality. Think you are working in this company, and suddenly in the morning, Fiona sends you a mail. Now take your common sense approach to the paper. Of course, bring your knowledge, whatever the models that we have learned, bring it, because you are addressing at the top level, so you can't be just, just put up the things without backed by some theory and some model. But take common sense to the exam hall and be relaxed. Don't ever take it as an exam, because the moment you take it as an exam, your mind is blocked. You will not get any ideas. Let the Holy Spirit reveal things to you. My only advice to you is to pray. Pray and ask the Holy Spirit to reveal things. He will bring the flow to you. Right? So, here, I have sent you the web page created by the protesters against our biomass power station. So remember, the company, after 6 months of long thought, long planning, have now decided, and here some fellows are protesting. It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. But remember, in business and in life, we have to face challenges. We can't run away from challenges. Just because some people protest, we are not going to let it go. On the other hand, as prudent business people, as good corporate citizens, we are not going to ignore their protest clause. We want to see whether there's anything reasonable in their protest. Whether can we do something about it, not to stop the protest, but can we address their thing? We are not going to be very arrogant. Now that is our professional approach. Now some people I know in business world, I have lived with some of these people, they become very arrogant. They want to ignore. Let's face it. How are they going to face it? They want to face it by arrogance. That is not the business style of operation, professional style. We want to see. We don't want to just ignore. We want to see. But just because we see, we are not going to just stop the preaching. Right? So, life we face challenges. But just because we face challenges, we are not going to get away. We will face the challenges. Amen. Right? So, this is causing serious problems because we still need to gain formal cabinet approval. So, you can see, even though the government has given approval in principle, the government has not yet given the cabinet approval or the green light. Now, that is a bit of a risky thing. You have done all your work, and by chance, if the protesters make a big protest, and if the government decides, sorry, we are not going to go ahead with the project, that can disappoint all your plans. So, we have to be mindful of the fact, still it is not approved, so the government still can stop the project, so because of that we can't ignore the protest totally. Although the government supports biomass as an energy source, it is far cleaner and more sustainable than fuel and far less controversial than nuclear. Needless to say, the press has picked up on this and starting to run the story. That is the critical role of the press. Press can kill an organization. Press can make the organization go very well. So, press is looking all the time for some sensational news, something for them to come out and to, not all the time with very good intentions. They want to bring something and, make a havoc out of it. That is the press's nature. So you have to be very, very mindful of the fact. Now the press has got into the game and you can't just ignore. They are also people of, in a way, of some power because they can destroy your company. So there are people with, in a way, with a high power, probably low interest, but they can become high interest at a particular stage with a news like this. And they will attack every day on the paper and on the news media, and that will make the matters worse for you. They will exaggerate all that. So you have to ensure one thing, you maintain a very healthy relationship with the press. However, you have to be very, very cautious. You have to be careful. You must be ethical with the press. Sometimes the press can become very unethical. They might say, okay, Marian, you advertise with our newspaper and then we will not put this article. Now that is totally unethical, unacceptable thing. Just to get their things, we should never do that kind of a thing. So anyway, we had reached agreements in principle with Bank of Greeceland. So you can see that one of the biggest challenge was to get the funding. So in principle, the bank has agreed, so which is a good thing. And also with the civil engineer and constructor for the construction work. So you can see the board has gone that far, making the challenges and getting a construction engineering contractor, but both are now nervous about signing contracts because neither wishes to be associated with an environmental scandal. Fair enough. The banks are always a target of this environmental because they can make a big noise about a particular bank funding something environmental unfriendly, and maybe all your customers will get distracted and probably even may withdraw their money, close their accounts, because the people are today becoming very, very conscious about this environmental, and if they feel some bank is supporting environmental unfriendly project, and they might. So the bank, again, they have agreed in principle, they might decide to withdraw themselves.
Yes.
And engineer, the construction people also, they might think, oh my gosh, if I go and do this project, our reputation will be shattered. Better not touch that project. So, Fiona is asking two things from you. Please draft the body of a press release that we can issue in response to the claims on the protesters' website. Now that's a good thing to do in a way, because we must issue a press release, putting up our views, putting up our stand, but that again you have to be very careful. You will never lie. You will never lie. You don't want to lie. You must be truthful because you are ethically responsible people. Add a few comments to explain what your arguments are trying to achieve. I don't want us simply to state that we disagree with the protesters. Now that's a very professional approach of Fiona. We should not just say we are totally in disagreement. We must say why we disagree, why we agree, and what we can do together in a meaningful manner. So I want to offer meaningful arguments in response, right? Just write your draft as part of your reply and I will circulate it. So remember, you are not writing the final press release, you are writing a draft. So it need not be perfect, because they will discuss at the board level and they will decide. But surely they will base the press release on your initial draft. And therefore it must be very factual, must be ethical, and it must be full of transparency. Please suggest some safeguards we can put in place to enable us to return the support of the bank and the civil engineering through this project. So both you can see the bank is upset about it, civil engineering engineers upset about the project. So you want to, you as a senior advisor will suggest some safeguards that can be put into place, which will make that project, somewhat kind of a situation with the people. Now I want to see the website article, what they have written. So here we can see the protesters website article, Save Breeze Forest. So they have put a nice forest picture. Our country forest is located in an area of outstanding natural beauty that also includes a number of small towns and villages. Many local residents moved into the area after retiring, were attracted by the opportunity to breathe fresh air and be surrounded by beautiful views. In doing so, we have brought wealth into a local economy that was struggling because there was little employment, to encourage young people to born in the area to see. So some retired wealthy people have come and they believe they have done some work in that area which has created some kind of an environment for the younger people to stay. AIN plans to destroy forest. You can see very strong wording. AIN plans to destroy Brisbane forest in order to fuel a power station that itself will spoil the view, well as polluting the atmosphere. Now this is the typical environmentalist language, sadly, right? They don't talk about the government giving the land and all that, and it's a government proposal. Basically they say your company is planning to destroy the forest and that beautiful view and pollute the environment. So anyone reading this statement, wow, they will really get angry with AIN. Globally, vast areas of forest are cleared every year for commercial exploitation. This creates untold risk for the planet because trees are responsible to give us breathable air. We know globally there is such a big cry about deforestation, etc. And people have been exploiting these forests. And when you put up a statement like that, even a sleeping man will get up and will sign this petition against AIN. Local residents are working together with Green Brisbane Friesland's largest environmental campaign. So, no small job. It is the largest environmental campaigner called Green Friesland, who is trying to draw the attention to damage that AN is threatened to inflict on this area. We will ask you to write to the government planning department to ask it to refuse to issue a permit for this development. So they're basically telling every one of you all who are reading this web article, write to the government planning department saying stop this project. Now you can imagine hundreds, thousands of people writing to the government planning department, and the government planning department just can't keep silent, and they might put a block on your project. 6 months have gone, you have done all the work, you have done everything, you are ready, and suddenly you can see this kind of a big challenge coming on you. We also ask you to sign our online petition and to consider joining us in peaceful, non-violent direct action against the bulldozers in the event that our efforts to block the granting of a government permit should fall. So you can see they are very, very strong. They want you to write to the planning department. They want you to sign the online petition. Not only that, in the event that the government decides to still go ahead, they want to organize a peaceful, non-violent direct action. Probably they want to enter the site and do something like that. So that's your second section. If you have 60 minutes again, so probably again it will take about 15 minutes reading and planning. I always believe if you take lot of time to reading and planning, you will get a good answer. So now let's look at our task. What is Fiona asking? So Fiona's, if you remember, Fiona's, the heading was stakeholder. So even though she has not very specifically told, we must remember we have to look at from the stakeholder. So the model that we want to use probably will be the Mendelow's matrix. Mendelow's matrix. Because that is the model. So always remember you must use some technical model. So one of the models that you probably want to use is the Mendelow's matrix in this case, and maybe even a pestle analysis, because it's something to do with the environment. You might want to see the legal aspects, you might want to see the social aspects, you might want to see the technological aspects and all that. So the pestle analysis also probably can be used at this stage to see whether we should proceed with the project or not. Reading the email of Fiona, you can see the board's view on the whole thing. Board is not prepared to abandon the project. Right? Board wants to safeguard the bank, board wants to safeguard the civil engineer, and board, I think, want to issue a press release because they are determined to go ahead with the project. So unless you see some very, very good reasons why we should abandon the project, I think you as part of the senior management should be also going on those lines. Not just because some people have protested to stop the project. Now, if you really look at the Friesland, that the environmental association called, what is their name? Green Friesland, right? Surely it's a very high power, high interest organization in this scenario. We can't just ignore them, and they can see they are written very, very strongly. Now we must see if you are going to counter this, right? The press release, what and what we should look at. So we can't just ignore that you know, whatever they say. But how are we going to counter it? Remember what is our strategic objective? Our strategic objective is to maximize shareholder wealth and to create alternative energy. So in your press release, so before you even write the press release, you might want to, you know, express your what should I say? Express your shock and disappointment over the protest of the people, because you being a senior person who probably has worked on this project for last 6 months, will be very, very disappointed to know that the Green Baseline have initiated such a massive protest against your project. Yeah? Right. So now I want to see what are the points that you must come up on the press release. So press release is something which you are going to make it to the public. You have to be very, very careful with every word. One wrong word can take you. So probably you want to probably start off saying that we, AEN, respects the interest of local residents, right? And we agree to look at the protest very openly, that kind of a thing, right? We should not get into a kind of a hard-heated thing. We must open up in such a way that the protest, remember, this will be read not only by the Green Baseline, it will be read by all the local residents or everyone. So we must try to win over them. So we must say we respect the interest of local residents at the very outset, and our aim is to develop this project in such a way without creating any environmental pollution. And also probably you want to say that the government only initiated the project and that we are doing along with the government support, because we should not we should not try to show that as if we are doing it on isolation. It is the government that has initiated the project and we are supporting the government. You might want to say we have a duty towards our shareholders to make shareholder wealth maximization, and from that standard we are interested in doing this project. You might also want to say it is a good renewable energy source with very little damage to the environment, or minimal damage to the environment compared to the other projects such as fossil fuels, etc. And also nuclear, right? And nuclear. So you might try. You want to put up certain things and show them. Look here, we are ready for this project for many reasons, and also we respect the local views all day. Having said that one, now you might want to counter this. The best way to counter is, I think, in a situation like this. I was working on a project in Sri Lanka. The previous government started the project with the Chinese government to reclaim some of the sea area in the main city hub, and to put up a kind of what they call a port city. Reclaim the city and put up a city. The government, the people who are in the opposition really protested, saying that the moment they come into power, they will stop and abandon the project. But I knew even if they come, they will go ahead with the project, because China is a very strong country and China supports Sri Lanka in big way. And I knew that you will never able to stop this project even if the new government comes. And as predicted, the new government came into power. The very first call from the Chinese Prime Minister to the new Prime Minister was, please don't stop this project. Now the new Prime Minister was in a dilemma, because he went openly on the television, openly on the media, and told that, this project will be abandoned. Now, Chinese Prime Minister says, hey, don't stop this project. So, I was doing some, I'm still doing some consultancy for the Prime Minister in Sri Lanka. So what he asked me, Kumar, what shall I do? Right? To stop this project, but we have already given a promise to the people, we are going to stop the project, what shall I do? So I said, sir, the best thing is to get some, what is the concern of the people? People's concern is that the environment will get polluted. So I said, why don't you invite a very reputed international environmental impact association to do an environmental impact assessment report on this project. And if they say, yes, the environment is getting polluted, we can tell the Chinese Prime Minister, look here, very sorry, we have to stop the project. If they say that has no impact on the environment, we can tell the people, look here we have got a very reputed people to do this project, and they say so, and therefore we will proceed with the project. So this is, so thank God, the international association which they did the environmental impact, they said the project is very, very good for the environment. There is nothing wrong with the project. It's a good project for the future of Sri Lanka, and the Prime Minister could go on TV and say, look here, we thought it is a bad project, but here we have got a good report in hand, and therefore we are proceeding. So, save the day for the Prime Minister, save the day for the entire project, and the project is now moving. So, here also we can suggest a thing like that. You can say, we respect the views of the Green Breezeland, and therefore we have decided to get an internationally reputed firm to do an environmental impact assessment on the project. Even to the extent we can suggest that, we will invite or we will jointly appoint that firm, so that, they also will have a say in appointing. And if they say that the project is environmentally unfriendly, we will stop it. If they say that it is, we will do it. If they say certain things we need to correct it, we will do it. Now imagine, Marian, when you issue a press statement like that, immediately it will bring that cold kind of arrogance to a calmness.
Yes.
This is good even in our personal life. Rather than trying to attack people and to go, accept certain things and try to minimize the damage. So that way we will have a fair kind of. So that is the press relief which I want some things to be looked at. And also in the press relief, we can talk about the boosting to the economy, that the benefits the project will create. I remember a long time back, I was working in a company where we were trying to put up a hotel, and there was a big issue about that hotel. Because it was to be done in a beautiful landscape like where with the forest and all that. And being a predominant Buddhist country, the Buddhist priests took onto the road saying this project will pollute the environment. This project will pollute that, because it was a tourist project. It's basically we were bringing tourists, and they said it will take the culture of that, village girls and that kind of thing. And they made a big project. And I remember we were threatened even with our life, saying that if you go to do this project, people will get killed. So it was such a difficult project. The government again has given approval in principle, but the government was not prepared to give the cabinet approval till these matters were resolved. So I remember again we got some of these international environmentalists to do a report. They said it is not so. It is not going to damage. But still for all the Buddhist priests, still they were protesting, and it was not very easy to get to. So one day I decided to visit the priest temple, the temple, and meet the priest and to tell them, explain them all what the benefits that the project will bring. You know, when a hotel comes, there will be a kind of opportunity for the village people to do handicraft, village people to sell flowers, to sell vegetables, etc., etc. And then the priest understood it. They said, yes, I think it is a good project. And they told me, why don't you meet the community and explain to them? So that's another thing we can say. We will always discuss. We are willing to discuss with the community their concerns, and we can always talk about the benefits the project will bring. And that project, of course, got delayed because of this protest by 4 years. But when we did the project, it became the #1 environmentally friendly hotel in the whole of Southeast Asia. Hotel that was supposed to be damaging the political, the environment, became the #1 in Southeast Asia. Because of course, we listened to some of the arguments. We saw this, there was certain substance in the arguments. We decided to address those issues, and it came such a big thing. Today the community period, that town has equivalent to one of the mega towns in Sri Lanka. So we can always quote examples of that kind of a thing if we know, and we can say in the press release, such and such had happened, and that is how it came up, and that kind of a thing will make it the thing. But having said all that, you can't be very tame. You can't be very tame and lame. You must also make a very, very clear, you must give a message to the protesters saying that we are prepared to, consult you all, do this environmental impact assessment, do everything. However, we will not condone or we will not accept the threats of civil disobedience or that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
We must make it very clear. We are not going to just, be very lame. So we have to, we can say we respect the citizens' right. We respect the citizens' right, and you have all the rights for legal and democratic rights. But however, we will not condone any plans to destruct our project by means of civil disobedience. So, and finally we can say we have a duty to our shareholders and employees and to proceed with any permitted development so we can secure their future. So we must talk in that language and issue a statement. You should not be too lame. If you try to be too lame, you can't live in this society. You have to be nice, good, and strong also. Yeah, right? You must be nice, good, and strong, and you must tell them all that. Of course, you can always put up and say, we will ensure that reforestation will happen.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah.
We can always say that, and we can always say that even these are kind of instilled fears, because even if you don't do this thing, the trees will naturally decompose, and there will be carbon dioxide emission. And it will make the country beautiful because there's alternative energy. All that kind of thing you can make it. And you can say that we will safeguard the wildlife, all that, and that will make the matters very, very, what do I say? That will make matters very, very light for the people who want to protest. Even if you were thinking of protesting after that, looking at that website, when you read our press release, you might think twice about it.
Yes.
Because you will see that these fellows are very reasonable. They are trying to do something good, right? They are trying to do something good. There are a lot of benefits. So why are we going to protest it? Why? What for? They are prepared to listen to us. They are prepared to get a international company. All that kind of a thing. And you may want to, you can, I believe about 60% of the people who would want to sign will not sign after seeing our press. Now that is the purpose of a press release. So that is my first part of the question which I've answered. Now the second part is about the safeguards we can put in place to support the bank and the civil engineer throughout this project. What are the safeguards we can put in to support the bank? Remember, the banks are a big target for environment. So the bank manager will be obviously upset about this particular issue, because the bank manager might feel, oh my gosh, if our name is exposed. So we must give them a assurance that we will keep it confidential, the bank name, till we formalize, till we resolve these problems.
Yeah.
So that is an assurance that we can give it to the bank, so that the protesters will not be able to identify. We have to brief our senior employees, keep this name of the bank confidential, so that they will not have the encroachment of the protest. Right? Because we have seen the banks funding this kind of project, this kind of controversial project. So the banks will be all right, so long as we get so we can tell the bank also we are going to get in an independent appraisal done by independent environmental impact association, right? Then we also want to, because the bank may be a little bit concerned about the project itself, right? 6 months have already gone, and if this project is going to take you another 2 years, 3 years, maybe the cost of the project can go up, and there can be additional funding that will be required. So that can be another area where the bank will be concerned, that the cash flow will be somewhat tight, or they might have certain delays and all that kind of a thing. So we have to convince the bank that we have a contingency plan in that situation, and this project we have to inform the bank. We will go ahead with the project very soon. We will resolve all these matters. We will take it up with the government, with the cabinet, all that, and that we must show the bank the confidence that we are going ahead with the project, what may come. That will make the bank manager a little bit more comfortable. There may be a little bit of interest fluctuation during this period, because maybe the bank has agreed at 7%, but now the rates are going up, and there can be a little bit of an interest risk coming up, which you can work it through a interest rate agreement, futures agreement, something like that. You may want to work through something like that on a scenario like that. So that is basically about the as far as the bank is concerned, that we will have. Also, we must remember, we can't just keep quiet on a situation like that. We have to get legal advice. Already in our company we have Peter, who is a legal expert on many areas, but we may want to get independent legal advice, and probably even getting a court injunction. Understand? Right? Court injunction, because we must prevent people walking into our project site or whatever it may be. So we will have to get a court injunction and other legal remedies, so that we can tell the bank, don't worry, we will look at all that kind of. Now look at from the construction company. Now they obviously will be very scared, because these protesters can be somewhat very nasty. I was doing that one project, and the protesters became very, very arrogant at one time, nasty,
Yeah.
and in fact, the most of the contractors people, they did not want even to come and work with that particular company. So, right? So basically, what can we do in that kind of a situation? Now I'll tell you what I did. I spoke to the contractor. I said, don't worry. I will ensure that all your employees are covered with a good, adequate insurance cover.
Mm.
True enough, insurance can't, can't compensate for the life, but it will give some confidence to the people to
Mm.
my eldest daughter and son-in-law, they are going to Bangladesh next week. He has got a big break, and for last 6 months they were delaying it, but now finally they decided to go. But there is so much of security threat in that area. So what the company has told, we will ensure that we give you a very, very huge insurance cover. Surely it is not going to compensate for their life, but at least it gives some kind of a courage, some kind of assurance that, the people are willing to care for you. So one way we can safeguard our contractor is to offer all his employees who are going to work on our site a massive insurance cover.
Mm.
That we can do it, right? The contractor also will be somewhat concerned about the delays in the project, right?
Yeah.
Delays in the project, and there may be things like, cost overruns. So we may have to comfort the contractor by telling any cost overruns due to delays beyond the control of the contractor will be adequately compensated.
Mm.
Also, in a situation like this where there's a security threat, it's a good thing to engage a private security firm to protect the site. That will give a lot of confidence to the contractor, knowing that the company AN, we have provided security. Good, strong security will make things very, very compatible for them, comfortable for them. And also, a kind of one of the concerns of the contractors all the time on a project like this is the security of their equipment, because they have to bring the bulldozers, all that, and if they get damaged, that can cause a lot of problems. So security of the equipment. So again, we have to give them a good, decent location with lot of security where their equipment will be secure.
Mm.
That's another thing that you can give it. And probably, because things like fuel tanks and all that, they have to ensure. And another thing what I did in that hotel project was, we opened up many entrances for the people to come into the site, so that the protesters will find it extremely difficult to find out from which entrance the people are coming. So I have multiple access. So if the protesters are at gate number 1, we can ask the contractors, the people to bring the equipment through the gate number 8, something like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of protection will give the comfort for the contractor to go ahead with the project. Now, the end story here is basically, we want to go ahead with the project. We are a company so strong, we are prepared to accept any challenges, but not just being arrogant. We want to give a fair hearing to our protesters. We want to see if there's anything we are doing wrong. We are prepared to correct it. We are prepared to correct it. But it does not mean that we will just tolerate all crazy things of those fellows. That kind of a message will make the project to go ahead. So this is the kind of a reply which you can do it. And probably again, to end up, you might want to say that I'm most willing. I'm terribly shocked. You can say I'm terribly shocked with the practice, which I feel is not substantiated by whatever their claims. However, I'm always with the company on this project, and I'm willing to support on this project to the utmost. That will give Fiona and the board of directors so much of comfort to know that Marian is part of our project, and Marian is so strong that she is prepared to stay with the project. If I show fear and doubt and that kind of a thing, I'm not a very strong person, and that's not a leader. Leaders must address the concerns, but leaders must be strong enough to accept the challenges and to overcome the challenges.
Yeah.
So these are my points. So what I would like is now, I encourage now because we have about another 1 month, I think, just before the exam, time for you to start writing these things now.
Yes.
Start writing. For the first one, actually, I have done an answer for the section 1. So I will send you the section 1, my answer, but you can improve on that one, right, all the time. But something like a guideline I have done for the section 1, I'll send you that one today. But I want now for you to start writing, because I've seen some students, they were brilliant, but they did not write enough before the exam, and at the exam they found that the time was short, this, that and the other. So from now onwards, my advice for you, read the pre-scene daily, little by little at least. If you can read it over the whole thing, it's good. Read the pre-scene. Start writing answers. For the section 1, what we did, you can write answer. For the section 2, you can write answer. 60 minutes is the normal time we have seen in most of the papers. 15 minutes take for reading. Keep 5 minutes for your review, because you are writing something to a person like Fiona. You don't want to have any spelling mistakes and something. So you want 5 minutes to review. The balance 40 minutes, you probably will want to go and see every area and see what are the areas they wanted. You will notice on that whiteboard that is given to you. Within the 40 minutes, I must address few things. What is the first thing I have to address? Do a press release. What is the second thing I have to do? I have to safeguard the bag. What is the third thing I have to do? I have to safeguard the engineer. For the 40 minutes, I will probably split 20 minutes for the first part, press release, and 10 minutes and 10 minutes for the second part. So, I will not spend 25 minutes on the first part. Right? I will submit at 20th minute. I will go and then write about supporting the bank for 10 minutes. I will start in supporting the civil engineer for 10 minutes. Maybe I will find I don't have too much to write about the civil engineer protest support. So if I save 5 minutes, I will go and write that 5 minutes maybe on the first area press release. But what I want is I must address all the issues. Don't overrun.
No.
Don't overrun with your time. So try to look at like that, and from today onwards, I think we are about 1 month. Every day, if you can do it, I think you will be successful. So we have a section 3 on this one. I want you to look at the section 3 on this question and see whether you can draft the answer, because I'm going to send you another new mark which I have done for this company, and I will send that one, and we will look at that one when we meet next. Right? So I want you to look at the section 1 we have already done. Section 2 we have already done today. I want you to write 2 answers. Sit for 1 hour, do it. And section 3 also I want you to read by yourself. Send me. I will go for a new mark next time when I meet you. Right? So when is your free day, Marian? Next, say this week, any other day?
The thing is, if at 6 o'clock, I just have to wake up to do a lesson.
Pardon?
Shall we do?
I can't hear you clearly. Can you write on the chat box?
Sorry?
Can you write on the chat box? Because I can't, your voice is not coming clearly today. Yeah. Today is Monday. Say Wednesday, Thursday, whatever the day that is convenient, I can do it in the morning.
Okay. When's, I think, should we do Thursday?
Thursday, okay. Shall we make it Thursday, 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
Okay. So I will send you another new mark for you for Thursday,
Okay.
which I'm going to start with you. But I want you to look at the first mark, but I have already done the section 1, section 2. Section 1, I will send you an answer which I have done. Section 2,
Okay.
we did, you will do it. And section 3
Yeah.
also you will do it and send it to me.
Okay.
Okay. So we will meet
Okay.
on Thursday at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay then. Have a great day, Marian.
Okay.
Take
Thank
care.
you. You too. Bye.
Bye. Bye. I will send you the recording of this one today.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.